So I've been on a major nostalgia trip recently when it comes to creepypastas. I've watched an embarrassing amount of icebergs and video essays on the topic, and I thought it would be really fun to take my old creepypasta character from when I was like 13 years old and revive her, bring her back from the dead. So without further ado, my dear killers and EXEs, I present to you Candy. Isn't she beautiful? Now buckle up because her story is a bit of a doozy. So this girl is called Sophie. She is quiet, she is reserved, and she only has one friend, that being Joanne, who she may or may not be gay for. Now one day the two decide to explore an abandoned part of their school where Joanne fucking dies. Yes, just like that, she dies. I never had it planned out or anything. It was literally, I don't know, a fucking shelf falls on her or something. She dies. Now Sophie sees this happen and she faints, right? But she doesn't just faint, she falls onto a wrench that is laying on the floor, and it stabs her eye, and then she becomes blind on that eye, and it doesn't stop tearing, because that is how anatomy works. And she's not like other girls. She has a wrench in her eye and a dead friend. So while Sophie is recovering in the hospital, the students start gossiping about what actually happened to Joanne, because they believe it was not an accident. They believe Sophie actually killed her, because Sophie is a quiet kid who you cannot trust. Sophie hears these rumors, and when she comes back from the hospital, she is so mad that everyone assumes that she is a killer, that she becomes a killer. She kills all of the people that spread rumors about her, and that is the story. That is literally everything that I have. You might be wondering why people call her Candy, and the reason for that is simple. She has green hair. And how could I possibly rewrite the story to be better and less cringe? The answer is, I cannot. My new version is still extremely angsty, but here it fucking goes. Now just a quick heads up, this will include discussion of toxic friendship and a brief mention of a rumored suicide. So I wanted this Sophie to be more loud and protective. She actually has a friend group now that she's kind of the glue of, I suppose. She's very loyal to her friends. That is until Joanne joins. She transfers over to this school due to experiencing bullying at her old one, and she quickly gets adopted into Sophie's friend group. Sophie grows extremely attached to her to the point where they kind of become a duo, but the two do not actually pair together that well. Joanne struggles with a lot of insecurities and often thinks that people are acting fake towards her and actually do not like her. And Sophie is very good at feeding into that anxiety. She essentially subconsciously sabotages Joanne's other friendships to make her kind of dependent on her. So the two end up really isolating themselves from the other students and becoming almost codependent on one another. Now after some time, Joanne actually realizes this and really, really wants to end her friendship with Sophie because it's not doing anything good in her life. Out of fear that Sophie's gonna grow aggressive when she leaves, she decides to just leave the school, cut off contact, and not talk to her ever again. And as expected, Sophie does not take that well whatsoever. This is where it starts to resemble the old story again, because the other students do still rumor about what happened to Joanne. Since in this version it's not a clear-cut case of, well, she had an accident and she died, instead she just left. And these rumors range from her just kind of leaving the school to her full-on deciding to end her own life because of Sophie. Something that is not true, mind you. All this chatter really breaks down at Sophie's psyche. To the point where, well, like in the original, I suppose she just goes out there and gets revenge. I mean, you can't have creepypasta without a good old killing spree, am I right? Maybe I'll even let her move into the Slender Mansion and become a proxy just for my little teen heart to be happy. I wanted to communicate a more aggressive and loud personality with this design. I think I succeeded with that. I'm not a digital artist, you can really tell. I really am much more comfortable with just a couple pencils and paper. Regardless, this was actually super fun to do, and I definitely look forward to just absolutely drenching her in blood for some lore-related drawings. This is them side by side, and I thank you for listening to me ramble about my old OC for this long, jeez. I kinda wanna pick a new name for her. I was thinking of something like Casey or Cassie to go better with the candy thing. I guess that could still be her nickname. I mean, she does still have bright hair and clothes, which was kind of the whole reason for her name in the first place. Do you guys think I should give her a cooler weapon, or does she deserve to keep the wrench until the end of time? Anyways, I guess that's kind of it then, my first ever voiceover video. Now don't worry, this is not going to be the end of animatics on this channel, they are absolutely going to continue. I just wanted to branch out and see what else is out there. I once again thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you whenever I decide to make another one of these, I suppose.